Hello, my friends. Oh my gosh, check out this ant. This ant's huge. We are in Louisville, Kentucky. And yes, I know it seems just recently we were in California building the van, but now we're suddenly in Louisville. Let me just give you a quick rundown of how we got here. We left California. When did we leave California? 3 weeks ago? We left California about 3 weeks ago when all of our projects were wrapped up, fixing the van, getting our passports, and getting all the documents ready for shipping the van over to Europe, which is our plan, as many of you guys know. We bought our Sprinter van, built it out with the intention of going to travel in Europe. Our van is getting shipped out of Baltimore in about 2 weeks, I believe. Actually, it leaves in 3 weeks, but the van has to be there a week before, so it's got to be there on the 31st of August. On our way to Baltimore, and we stopped at several places to visit some friends. First place we stopped was Arizona. We spent about 5 days there. And then we spent a couple days in Colorado, visiting our friend in Durango. And after we left Durango, we went to Great Sand Dunes National Park, which is our first time there. It's just a part of Colorado we haven't been to before until this last month. We passed through there and then we zipped all the way across eastern Colorado, western Kansas, and went to our friend's place in Humboldt, Kansas, which are our friends that we used to travel with in our Airstream. They used to full-time in their Airstream, when we full-time in our Airstream, and we spent several years traveling with them all across the United States. They've settled back in their hometown of Humboldt, Kansas, so we went to go visit them. Last time we saw them was probably 4 years ago. While we're in Kansas, our cat Yoda started to display some signs of lethargy, wasn't eating, wasn't going to the bathroom. So we took her to the vet, and the vet was saying that she was exhibiting signs of liver failure. The toxicity in her system has gotten into her bloodstream because her liver was failing and not able to filter out the toxins. We had to decide whether or not to try to let her body heal up, but what was really difficult is that she wasn't drinking and wasn't eating. So what we did is we took this energy dense food for animals called Intercal. You squeeze a little dab in your finger and you scrape on the roof of their mouth to give them energy, because what you need to do is kind of force feed them, give them the energy, because energy and liquids are what they need to get their body to heal back up. So that's what we started doing, knowing that that still may not be enough, but we took a chance. We were going to go see some more friends after Kansas, but because of that, we bolted straight to Louisville from Kansas to our other friend's house who lives here in old Louisville near downtown. Yoda's doing okay. I think she's doing better. She's a little bit more active. She's starting to drink a little bit of water on her own. She's still not eating as much as we like, so we're still giving her the Intercal ourselves. So we really have to see what's going to happen with her. Our plan was to bring her with us, but she has to pass a health check 10 days before the flight. So unless she can pass, we don't know whether or not she's going to be able to come with us. So to make a long story short, we are now in Louisville. And you may be wondering what we're doing in the backyard. The first couple days after we got here, a giant tree fell down. And for the last 3 or 4 days, we've been trying to figure out how to get rid of it. So let me show you what happened. Really raining outside today.
What are you doing? Hey, he drops the sunscreen. No, they're seashells. Seashells. And there's some sunscreen on him. Look, you're just making your guy disappear. If he's putting sunscreen, let me help you put sunscreen on him. Can I put like all over his face too? No. No, I'm weak awaiting him.
Good morning. Well, last night we had rain and lightning, and apparently it caused this to happen. Still raining. I didn't even hear that. Look at that. That thing just crashed through the fence. The entire tree in the backyard.
Everyone
Show the camera this
that.
I didn't hear anything.
It was about
Me either.
8 o'clock.
Holy
About,
smokes.
8
o'clock this morning?
Yeah.
God.
Show
About
the
fun thing.
fans this.
The fans.
Show them.
I mean, that tree's
Really big.
what? What do you even do?
Call the construction
Get it out
workers.
for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that it's not hurting.
Oh yeah, right. You just have to trim it.
But his,
Holy
his cable's
smokes.
out too. Yeah.
This is a pretty big tree.
Take the stuff out of the way.
The tree used to be over there. It was in the parking space. So luckily, when we first got here, we were actually parked right by the tree.
Legs gave out.
And
I should,
we decided to move it to the front,
yeah.
which turned out to be a good thing because God knows if it would have taken any part of the van with it. And it fell this way, which is fortunate because falling any other way would have been worse. At least this way it goes through the yard and it's touching their house, but it's not damaging the house at all. And I don't think it's damaging this fence either. This fence is okay, right? If it has damage, it's minimal compared to this fence. So that piece that's kind of sticking up right now looks like it's still in one place. I think that fence is just up because the roots took it up. And people could have been sitting here. I mean, if we're early risers, if you're out here to drink coffee, you could have been just crushed by this tree. But the funny thing is we never heard it. We're right upstairs and we knew the internet was down because when I woke up, the internet wasn't connected. But I just thought maybe, oh yeah, the rain took it down. But I didn't know the rain took down the tree that took down the internet. We gotta figure out a game plan. We'll probably go buy a chainsaw and start cutting up pieces of this tree so we can at least clear it. And if we can get all this cleared up, then we'll start to repair the fencing, I guess. So we can at least clear enough of this out so they can come in and put the cable back up. We had a bunch of options on what we're gonna do with this tree. It finally stopped raining so we can work on it. It's our friend Carrie's house. She has insurance, but the insurance told her that they're looking into what her coverage may be for this one. They were initially insisting that this was wind related, which it was not. It had rained really hard. There's actually like flood warnings and stuff in Louisville, but it was most likely because it got too heavy from all the rain on the leaves and just took it down. Not wind related at all. So what we're gonna do is cut some of these branches off. And I don't know what's gonna happen with these ones that are hanging over. It's gonna be a little tricky. But what we're gonna try to do is clear them off, like from the top of the tree to the bottom. So the branches that are the smallest will get cleared out first. And then hopefully eventually we can get it all cut down into like smaller chunks of wood and piles of leaves. We'll see where that takes us. But this is what we rented. It's a pretty heavy duty Makita electric chainsaw. It's a corded chainsaw with an 18-inch bar, I believe. It's made by Makita, so they make good quality tools. It should do pretty much everything we need to do here. We got it for 24 hours for 50 bucks, which is better than buying because I don't think she'll need a chainsaw after this. Hopefully not anyways. We'll get to work. Alright, so let's just first look at what we're dealing with over here. This is the main trunk of the tree. It looks like it just tore out of the ground back here. That's the neighbor's yard. It fell sideways this way. Now it's leaning on the ground in that direction. I cannot even get to the back of this tree. I don't know how old this tree is, but it's pretty old. Broken branch right there. God, this thing must have made a huge, horrendous sound. So shocked that we didn't hear anything. Of course, it's humid and hot, and that's why we got the air conditioning on, which is probably what masked all the noise. Start from that end, work my way back this way towards the root of the tree. Alright, so that's about the most we're going to be able to do before we come back. We're going to go to the neighbor's house, cut the tops of those branches off, because otherwise if I cut this, the whole thing is going to drag down that power line. So we're going to clear things out a little bit, move to the neighbors, see how much we can clear. We were able to disconnect that power line by turning off the breaker, so it should be safe. Okay, so through the magic of YouTube, we have this project pretty much as done as it's gonna be. This is where the tree was hanging over the neighbor's yard. We went over to the other side, trimmed a bunch of the tops off, and then threw the tops over the fence, trimmed off as much as we could back here, and then we had just piles and piles of branches and leaves. So we spent another day. So that was, first day was we sort of cut everything that we could on this side. Second day, we went to the other side, cut the tops off, came back in and trimmed more on this side once the top is down. Because what was the problem was the big tops of the tree were on that side. This kind of fence was holding it up a little bit. You can tell where some major branches lodged in and then broke the tops of the years of these fences. I was concerned that if we cut the tree right in the middle without trimming the top off, there's going to be a lot of tension. It's going to come slamming down, maybe on me, maybe on, you know, people that are near. So we took care of that the second day. Yesterday we spent most of the day just cleaning up, taking all the chunks that we cut off, cutting them into smaller pieces, and then piling them. And I'll show you what we ended up with. All these leaves came from the tree, and most of it was, as you saw in the video earlier, here, and a lot of it was over there on the neighbor's yard. And here's all the wood that we chopped up. The saw that we rented, we had to give it back after 24 hours, but we had a friend that come over with a chainsaw, with a gas powered chainsaw, and he came today and helped us cut the rest of the trunk off. And he was able to cut it down this far. And that's sort of what's left of the trunk, or the root. We need to get this stump out somehow. Probably get somebody with a truck and a chain, drag it out. There's like an alleyway right here. But at least for now, both our friend Carrie and her neighbor on this side have dogs. So they have to make sure that this can close up. And the friend that came over to cut this off today was able to cut the big pieces of the trunk off, because this was kind of sticking out. And it probably ended like right about here. So we had about 20 feet of trunk. So that's what he cut. He cut all these big pieces today. That's a lot of wood. But it's surprising though to see what you have here and there is pretty much the entire tree that used to lay across 3 yards almost. You know, what we didn't want to do is hire a tree person who comes out here, looks at a disaster, wants to be a problem solver, and she was getting quotes from these tree guys that were anywhere between $1,000 to over $2,000 for the job, which I get. You know, I mean, these people, they're problem solvers. They come to people that kind of are just helpless. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do with this big disaster. They just want to go away. So sure, the go away price is $2,000. You don't lift a finger, you pay $2 grand, and this goes away. But if you use a little bit of effort, ask some of your friends for help, we were able to get from what was a major problem, a big disaster, to just a couple piles of debris. And of course this fence will need to be rebuilt. The stump will need to be pulled out, but I think it looks reasonable now. It was crazy. The tree had fallen over across the entire yard. It looked like a jungle back here. Now it just looks like we trimmed some trees. We actually stayed a few days longer here in Louisville than we intended to, but I'm glad we spent the extra few days to kind of help her out of this bind. This was going to be really expensive without help if she was going to pay for somebody, but between us, her brother who also lived in town, a Facebook friend, and the neighbor, we were able to get this to a real manageable situation. We're probably going to leave tomorrow and head out of Louisville and continue our way we'll do some exploring before I have to be in Baltimore to leave the car with the shipper. We are still trying to figure out what we're gonna do with our cat. Another reason why we were glad to kind of stay put for a few more days here in Louisville is to see how Yoda is progressing. She seems to be stable, but not getting significantly better. She's more active. She's running around a little bit, exploring a little bit, but most of her time is still kind of spent sitting still, hiding under the bench in the room that we're sleeping. So, you know, we'll see how it goes in the next few days. One of our thoughts was one of us will fly back to California with her, and Marlene already talked to her brother. Her brother said that he'd be willing to take her on to sort of take care of her while we're gone, because if she can't pass and get her health certificate, we're not going to be able to bring her. And if we can't bring her, we don't know anybody on the East Coast who can take care of her for us while we're gone. And realistically, if we're going to be gone for a year, maybe 2 years, how much time does she have left? We just want her to be comfortable. We want her to be at a place where she feels safe and have somebody who can kind of look after her. For right now, that's still a thing we have to deal with. We'll see how that goes, but thank you guys for watching. And I know there was a lot packed in this video, but I wanted to catch you guys up to date with what's going on. And I hope that give you guys some information about where we're at. I appreciate you guys for subscribing and staying subscribing to our channel. We got more videos coming up. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.